Hi, so I'm going to talk about the cycloplegic eye tests and my experience with that and a few of my thoughts on that. So for anyone who doesn't know, a cycloplegic eye test is where they put drops in your eye which relax the eye completely, so you get it's used to test for long-sightedness sometimes. And that's what I had the test for. So my last optician that I went to, I had a pair of 4s on and I could read the tiny letters in bits, so I'd see a letter and then it would go, and so obviously I told the optician this, and this was one of the 2 good opticians that I went to. So on that basis, I asked for a cycloplegic eye test to see, you know, if that would uncover anything. So I had this test. It's not true to say that I couldn't see anything, because I could actually see relatively well, but I was a bit bothered by sunlight and stuff afterwards. But anyway, went back in to do the test and it came out at about a plus 1, which is it? Okay, if that's what it is, that's what it is. But obviously a plus 1 wouldn't have done it for me. I mean, yeah, I was recommended at least a plus 2 for reading by the previous optician, and he was one of the good ones I had as well. And that was turning out to not be enough, because if I was relaxing, suddenly the screen would go blurry and I'd have to move quite a bit away. Well, I was sitting, say, about that far from the screen anyway, so I was having to move away with plus 2. So anyway, this optician, he gave me my current prescription on that basis to help me function better, which I got to say, I've worn these glasses ever since and they've done a fantastic job, so thank you, that man. But it does appear that there are a few people who actually fail the cycloplegic test in that it just doesn't work for them. And you think, well, okay, so why? This thing is supposed to relax the eyes. Why is it not working? And it may be because if someone has lived with, you know, a high degree of eye strain for a long time, it may just not be strong enough, even though it is very strong. I mean, you only want, you know, the test done once in a while. You certainly, you know, don't want it done every few months or something, because it is quite strong stuff that they put in your eyes. But if someone has what's called pseudomyopia, and that's explained on the End Myopia website and on the YouTube videos and the myopia prevention sites, the eyes just go into ciliary spasm, so they become muscle bound, basically, just like a bodybuilder. You know, if they do too much bodybuilding and the muscles kind of stick in a tense position, so that happens with eyes, so that they can kind of keep a shorter focus so the person can function. So that may well be a part of it. Now, this is a good 2-3 years since I've had, you know, these glasses, so my eyes should be well relaxed. But what is happening is I'm getting the same kind of flashes of, you know, most of the time it's a bit blurry, but then my eyes will try and line up, and you know, this one in particular, and then I'll get a flash of, I nearly see it, then the eye moves away, and I'm thinking, well, what else could be going on? Because I was getting that before, and certain things were lengthening out my vision, so perhaps eating, walking downhill, those were two of the things that were doing it. Brisk exercise. And so I thought, well, having just done a video about a study in which they managed to, they did find a correlation between some eyesight conditions and some malocclusions of the teeth. That got me thinking a bit about, well, perhaps that could be a part of it. Now, I've had work done on my teeth, which I talked about, and that has really helped me a lot. But anyway, to get back to this study, they found out that 18% of the subjects, they were children who had a class 2 malocclusion. So that's so in this study, which I talk about in another video, they found that the hyperopic subjects mainly had class 1 malocclusions. The myopic subjects mainly had class 2, although given that myopia is over-prescribed and over-diagnosed, that can be a bit of a confounding factor. But the class 1, which the hyperopes had, the teeth sit fairly normally at the back. Trying to find, so that'll be this side of the thing. But they may, obviously I haven't got this now because these are my retainers, so a lot of that has been sorted out, although I've still got a mild crossbite. But there may be some crowding at the front. So in a class 2, and I've still got a touch of that on this side, the bottom molar is slightly behind the top molar, so it's actually fitting into that groove. But the thing with the class 2 is that your teeth may stick out a bit at the front. There may be a bit too much of an overlap. But where the teeth are situated, I do actually feel that making the difference. So, you know, personally, I find moving the jaw around actually does change my eyesight. So that actually may be a part of it. And you know, nothing in your body happens in isolation. So say if you hurt your leg and you have to limp for a bit, the next thing that may happen is your shoulder might start hurting, because your body's having to adjust its balance. So the point of that is, if your jaw isn't in balance, your eyes might not be in balance either, because everything up here, I mean, all the muscles connect to each other and they work with each other, and one thing balances out another. And so it's kind of interesting that one thing that children may do if they haven't got great binocular vision, say if their eyes are stressed, if they're long-sighted, they may develop a head tilt. Okay, now you think if they're doing that at an age while their teeth are growing and developing, they may well develop a malocclusion which kind of keeps that imbalance in place. So, you know, which comes first, chicken or the egg? You know, it's just an interesting point to consider. So, yeah, that is, those are my thoughts on malocclusions, cycloplegia, and how everything balances out.